So I want to offer a context for what I'm going to share with a little background. I was born into a Jewish family, secular Jewish family, progressive social activists, very involved with civil rights work and social justice work from the get-go. So I was raised in a non-religious atmosphere, but a spiritually activist, respecting justice, working for social justice and equality and against racism and prejudice. So I was raised on picket lines, you might say. But I was very anti-religious because what I saw in the kids around me growing up and the adults was both with Jews and with Christians, which was primarily where I grew up in Maryland, which is the South at the time, was hypocrisy. I would hear about the values and preached on Sunday, and then I would see the behavior on the other 6 days of the week. So I was very turned off to religion. I thought, like Marx said, religion was the opiate of the masses. And that's where I was, political activist, active against the war in Vietnam and continuing work against racism and for civil rights. In the mid-'60s, I was an undergraduate at San Francisco State, very interested in the unconscious, exploring the unconscious. And when I came to San Francisco in 1965, it was just the start of really a social revolution that was questioning basically American society, the materialism, the violence, the values that American society was based on. And I heard about the use in the research projects, it was legal at the time, with LSD. Very interested in that because it had the promise of unlocking the unconscious. And I spent about a year preparing to take LSD with trusted people in a responsible way. And in reading the literature of people's experiences, when I would hear about spiritual experiences, I would write that off. Well, that's an hallucination. That's just the drug speaking. I'm interested in the unconscious. So I go ahead a year later and in a sacred way, even though I didn't know what sacred was at the time, I take the LSD, and it totally, and why it's so threatening to mainstream society, it deconditions the mind from social conditioning. You see the king doesn't have any clothes on, and you see in the deeper reality, which is the reality of mysticism that underlines all the religions from my study and my understanding. I have a numinous experience that opens me up to the existence of a consciousness that's infinite light, infinite love, infinite creativity, infinite oneness, infinite unity, cosmic consciousness. I come out of that experience with the fuse box of my mind totally blown, and I want to understand other people's experience of this, which took me into a study of religion. So I spent time learning about Hinduism, taking classes, studying with Hindu teachers. In San Francisco in the mid-'60s, all the different religions were right there within 3 or 4 blocks of where I lived. I studied with Buddhism teachers. I studied with I didn't study with Christian teachers, mostly Hindu, Taoist, and Buddhist, all of which I learned from and influenced my practice that I carry today. Then I wanted to learn about the indigenous way of right relationship to spirituality on the land where I live, the Americas. And so I began to study with Native American elders. So this is a process of going on for half a century now that grew me into the person I am now. Now, part of that study of traveling around the world and doing the vision quests and pilgrimages to places of power with elders was takes me back to what underlies all of our religious experiences. If we go back far enough in time, all of our people, brown, black, white, all red people, whatever we are, our people are sitting around a fire, the sacred fire, and the elders are conducting ceremonies and passing on the stories that go through the generations and the ceremonies. And there is no word for religion. There's an understanding that spirit, God, Atman, Brahman, Muhammad, without those names, because it was before those people came through, those spirits came through, we're all connected. It's all alive. It's all conscious. It's all consciousness. It's all spirit. Paying attention to the way things work means we need to be in respectful relationship with all of creation. One of the key tools of opening consciousness that I learned about in sacred ceremonies with the people in Mexico, the Huichol people that I did an 11-year apprenticeship with, the curanderos, the Mazatecas, wisdom elders in the Amazon. Sacred plants that come from Mother Earth would be used in ceremony under the guidance of the elders, opening the people coming through the ceremonies to the consciousness of oneness, of respectful right relationship, all of life, not just human life, but animal life, plant life, earth life, ancestor life. Why? Because we're all connected. And in that connection, what we do to another, we do to ourselves, we do to our children, we do to our grandchildren. The consciousness of the repressive consciousness of American mainstream politics with this 400-year, 500-year history of distortion and lies and not telling the truth about what the nation was based on in terms of white supremacy, slavery, and genocide, has hypnotized the masses of people to not understanding the true nature of this country that right now is starting to be addressed, even though in the polarities. It's illegal for me, my religion, quote unquote, if I take some of the sacred medicine that comes from the earth, the American the criminal justice system says it's illegal for you to take that plant and be in possession of it and eat it, you will go to jail. It's a federal offense. Are you kidding me? Something that grows from Mother Earth that people have been taking for all of the time that we have been people on this earth around the world working with sacred plants to help us open our consciousness to one with spirit. It's illegal. That's insane. So did you say I had a minute left a couple of minutes ago?
Yeah, if you could, I don't want to cut you off, but if you could conclude your statements at this time.
Absolutely. It's said in one tradition that God is love, and those who love know God. And that to me is the essence of all religions in my spiritual practice. And whatever the beauty of all the different traditions that I've studied that are represented here in 7 years and spending time in Brazil with Imams and Sufi tradition, great respect for all of your traditions and your honoring, as the Sister Bishop said, that the bottom line of our beliefs is not what we say, but how we live and how we treat each other. Thank you.